All right, we're a little late tonight, but I'll call the meeting to order. It's 6:38. First up, modifications and changes to the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add? I think there was one addition. Dave, right?
Yeah, we could take it up under budget because it is a budget-related
Okay.
item.
If there's no modifications or changes, I'll move on to public comment. There's nobody in Zoom, right, Abby?
Nope.
All right. Since there's no one from the public here, I'll move on to 2022 budget. I guess we'll start with you, Dave.
Okay, so the reason I'm here is because I think I had a major misunderstanding a number of weeks ago when we were here. I was attending a meeting on Zoom. Jim was here, and that's the first time that I showed, excuse me, the draft of the sign with the, in the town of Enosburg with the H, and you folks preferred not to have that. So we discussed, seeing that you just decided you just as soon not have that, then it would be good if that you could put more money into the project from the village side. Now, we kind of got tossed around, and you talked about $900 figure. You folks remember that?
I do.
And I kind of left the meeting thinking that that was going to happen. And I guess that was naive on my part. But, so I guess that's why I'm here tonight.
Right, so to add a little more flesh to the bones on that, so David called me yesterday morning expecting a confirmation that the trustees had committed more than just the two signs. And remember, this was at the meeting that I was not present for because I had to quarantine because I had a flu. So I followed up with Abby and read the minutes again to see if there was anything more that I could figure out that had happened at that meeting on this particular subject. And Abby remembered some parts of what David had described, but Abby's recollection, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Abby, please, if I'm misrepresenting something, then just say so. But Abby's recollection was there was some discussion about the possibility of the village contributing more than just the two signs. However, there was also conversation that was brought up by Jim Cameron about a grant in the amount of $2,500 that the Enosburg Falls Economic Development Corporation had that he believed might be able to be used to offset some of the cost on two more additional signs. However, there was also some conversation that maybe that money might have to be split between the town and village. And if that was the case, it wouldn't really be $2,500, then it would be $1,250 that the village would get and the rest would go to the town. But they weren't sure about that, so there were some unanswered questions, and that seemed to be where the conversation ended. And we haven't heard back anything about the EFEDC grant money, so I told David yesterday, just, okay, this is budget related, come down, and I guess we're gonna have to talk about it with the board, because right now, we've only budgeted for two signs, and that's it. That's what's showing in the budget.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question? This EFEDC, is that the Wright Farm money?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, so the way that I understood it when we left off is that we didn't want these bottom signs. We wanted 4 of these top signs, in which the village would pay for half, and then, so I even called Jim to follow up because there was some confusion when we were setting the budget, and he said that just a budget for the 2, and that the FDI, or the industrial development grant, would take care of the other 2, all except for the $900 something it was to make up the difference between 2,500 and 30,
Yeah.
whatever 100.
So
33.
So we're also working with the town. not officially asked the select board to be a go-between, to do the footwork between them and getting these signs installed. But I'm on the agenda for Monday night, and I'm gonna ask them that specifically. And I would like to do that. We have some preliminary, some drafts of what those signs could look like for the town. And we would like to work this whole thing as a package, because if we go to John and say, we want 8 signs, matter of fact, I've already talked to him about this, is that, you know, can you do better? You know, can you give us a better price? And he said, yeah, he said, we can do that. So, and we also would like to coordinate a little bit between the signs, so that we don't have two signs that are totally different. Now, I'm going to get a little bit ahead of myself, but I want to show you this one. Now, when I went to the select board the first time, Larry had a suggestion, and I think it was really great, that the town signs, and I don't remember if I told you this before or not, but the town signs, it'd be nice if the town signs could feature a photo of the area that they're in. Like, for instance, and this is one, this photo is terrible because I took it with my phone, but this is what a sign might look like coming in on 108 from Bakersfield. And the photo is of the Oregon farm.
So this is the town sign.
And that would more than likely be a 4x4 sign, where the village signs are 4x6.
Now, originally, was the village paying for, when we were just started talking about signs, the village was paying for half and the town was paying for half? 2
Well,
and 2. Is
see-
that off the table?
I think this is where all our confusion lies. I think that this shouldn't be looked at as one project, because it's 2 completely different entities with 2 completely different budgets. While the funds from the Franklin County Industrial Development may be split, I don't think that we should be wrapping it all into one, because that's just gonna make it all messy, and I think that's where we're getting confused.
I do understand the dollar transfer business. I understand that totally. But anyway, so we kind of like to move ahead, and we're kind of on the tail end of your budget cycle. So I mean, if you know, I think we could probably see a way to do this. I mean, if you include that 900, that would certainly help our situation, and we'll go from there.
So I think we all left under the understanding that we would be willing to float a little extra money towards the
Right.
signs. But
I don't have it in here, just as a heads up, because it was very unclear to me, because I thought we were waiting to find out from Jim if all the money was coming here for splitting with the town, but that would affect how much money we were putting into it. So I still only have the 2 signs budgeted in here, just so you're aware.
okay. But just to be clear, the village will be getting 4 of these, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
If that's your choice, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want different wording on there, that's perfectly fine with us. I mean, we're not saying you gotta have that. but-
I think they look great, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind, they're about the same as the towns.
Right.
Yeah, they're not going
A
to
little continuity.
compete or fight with each other at all. That's
Yeah.
going to be very aesthetically pleasing.
No, at the select board meeting, I've got to convince the select board to go along with us and have a sign similar to that. So, that's basically where we're at.
So.
And we figure we may end up needing donations for this too.
Right, and I think that's what Jim was getting at. He said even if there was a little deficit, we could find someone somewhere.
Yeah,
to
it seemed
donate.
There are
some money.
several organizations that they would probably.
Yeah, between the amount of different organizations, I'm sure that it wouldn't be hard to come up with the $900 or whatever. If there's,
So you think we don't need to add that $900
That's what I was just about to
in?
ask, because you said earlier that that Jim said to only budget for the 2 and to not worry about the other 2. So are we
that's what he
keeping-
said.
So are we just gonna keep the 2 and then EI is gonna step up and fundraise or contribute towards, or what's gonna happen with the other two, since we don't have a solid answer?
I'd really like to see you donate a little more, because, I mean, we're gonna have to go looking for money.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you guys.
I don't see an issue with, I mean, those.
Now,
those
there was
signs
some
are-
talk about the Lions Club, but we kind of put them off, right? Because, how would I say that? We're gonna take care of the signs, the Lions Club wouldn't,
Yeah, because their name wasn't gonna be
The
on the
Lions
sign
Club owns
anymore.
the signs right now.
Yeah.
They don't want anything to do with it anymore, so.
Oh.
Let me say one thing, so, in the end, the Lions Club would like, I think I mentioned this before, would like their insignia on a bar under your village sign.
Yeah, I do remember saying that.
you know.
So then they need to make a donation.
Right,
Oh, they.
I said it's worth about $900.
roughly $900 donation, yeah.
Yeah, the $900 envelope. Sorry.
Okay, going forward, how much is that gonna screw up the budget if we add that $900, we're not gonna be able to approve the budget as written tonight? Right? Cause it's
That's
not,
my answer for John, could we,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have a
Yeah, you-
final,
we can't have another meeting
If-
about
if-
this.
if
No,
that-
this is,
if
we're
that
out
big
of
a deal,
time. I mean, if you tell us to
What
add
can
it in,
happen,
we'll
Sam?
add it in,
what can happen
but you're not
too,
gonna see
I
what
can
that
go
exact
add
final
it in and then come back and tell
tax
you
rate
the final number is once
is
we
going to
decide.
be.
Okay,
So we can do it, we just aren't gonna see it as is.
You're not gonna see it till it comes out,
Yeah.
you know, in the annual report, or we can put a copy, you know, in
Yeah.
your
I can
boxes.
email you a copy
Just-
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wanna
we
get
can
it figured
put a-
out here, it's,
We can put a copy in your
can't figure out
boxes.
which horse is in the race.
Right, but $900 isn't gonna be a huge impact
No.
to the tax rate, it's gonna be,
could we go down Main
Minimal
Street with a
amount.
collection basket?
you could.
Hey, we're gonna come and get you, get your basket ready.
Maybe we could pick bottles or something, you know?
Okay, so just to clarify, we are adding another $900 to the
Welcome
purchase
signs.
of the welcome signs, just
Do we need to vote on
it probably wouldn't hurt, yeah.
it? Okay, I move we add another $900 to this village sign project,
Second.
so that we can get it
Alright,
done.
Same with the first, you have the second, all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed nay. Okay, that should take care of it, I think, yeah, too bad Jim wasn't here. But
I've been talking with
you have? Okay. That's the other missing piece, so,
Yep.
but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you need these back?
They are lovely, and it is
Yeah.
going to enhance coming and going to the village of, and the town of Enosburg Falls,
I
a
really-
great
I
deal.
really like this town sign.
Yeah,
They never had a town sign over on 108 North, have they?
so,
Actually, we went looking for border signs,
We have to
and
work
there
it.
are border signs everywhere.
They're everywhere, but they're the signs that are,
They're state signs.
Yeah.
yeah, the green one's on the pole.
Right, that just delineates the town borders as you're crossing one
Yeah.
along a state route,
The one
but
up in
it's,
San-
but it's not a, you know, welcome to
Yeah.
sign.
Wasn't there like a lion sign up by Pat Hayes's?
Yeah, it still is, I think.
There is a.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
It's still
the
there.
it's still, yeah, the ones
Leaning,
one.
but it's there.
That will be replaced with a Welcome to Enosburg Falls, right?
Yes,
Yes,
all of
Yeah,
those.
but the Lions Club do wanna have that insignia on the sign. And anyone else who wants to pay, I mean, organization, you know.
as long as they don't clutter it up.
It's gonna be on the
Yeah,
bottom.
you know,
Well-
one tiny little Lions Club sign might look
Yeah.
okay, but
Well, yeah, and you guys wanna be careful because the municipality is paying for this, so it's a municipal sign. You can't have, you know, private
Yeah.
companies putting their name
Yeah,
on there.
yeah.
It's questionable whether the Lions Club, if the village is paying for these,
I would
it's
think the
questionable
only,
whether the Lions Club
It's
should
a typical
put on
thing
there.
to do.
yeah,
You know,
Right.
You're like, Welcome to Morrisville, there's all sorts of stuff on that one.
I don't
But
want.
they may have contributed to it, though.
Yeah.
Right, right.
but I think that because without the Lions Club, as much as I hate that cow, without the Lions Club, we never would have had a Welcome to Enosburg sign to begin with.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that maybe because of that, that the Lions could be allowed to put their insignia on the sign, but in my opinion, nobody else.
Yeah.
That sign was state of the art 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying
Don't
maybe
get me going.
130.
Don't get me
One other thing
going
I'll
on
just
that sign.
mention, I know this is still a ways down the road, but, because the village is paying for this, you guys wanna be aware of our procurement policy, which states you're supposed to get 3 quotes or put something out for public bid on a project. So,
I thought that was only if it was more than 5,000.
that's right, but
This
this
is
is more
30.
than 5,000, isn't it? Now
No.
that
3,200.
all in?
No.
Or
I-
30.
Just
no,
under.
We're only budgeting 4,200.
All in for everything?
Mhm.
That's what we're budgeting, but I thought there was another 2,500 in the grant,
The
and
total is
then,
6,800.
so it's over 5,000.
Yeah, but as it is right now, you folks aren't paying that.
It's not
We're
our
only-
60.
we're only paying
Well, I'll
4,200.
let you, all I was gonna say is when it gets to that point, to protect yourselves, you as a board can override your procurement policy, but nobody else can. Your staff can't, the public can't. So to protect yourselves, you just wanna make sure if you're going to work directly with one contractor and you don't plan on speaking to another contractor about this, you just wanna make sure when the time comes to approve the final design and make payment for it, that, you make the statement that you're overriding the village's procurement policy on that.
It's a,
I thought about, another appraisal, but John and his employees have had a lot to do with this design, so, it's.
And they will get the work done. It won't be just promises.
Yeah, oh, no doubt, I'm not questioning his abilities, and, John Johnson actually did the Island View sign for the village
and all of our trucks.
years
No, I wasn't
ago.
questioning his at all. I've been playing with signs
Yeah.
in Enosburg
I'm
for
just
40
I'm
years.
just saying, and, when it comes down to this, just as a reminder, you guys wanna
Yep.
protect yourself on that.
So it goes off the budget total, not off, or sorry, it goes off the project total, not off what the village is contributing?
Well, I guess I'd leave that up to your interpretation, but that's my understing,
Okay.
if you read the procurement policy.
We can get to that
Yep.
whenever.
Oh, I have
We'll
one-
cross that bridge.
One other question that comes to mind. In a case like this, is this tax exempt? You
I'm
pay
sorry, I
sales-
couldn't hear Dave.
You have to pay sales tax on this?
Municipal.
We're the municipality's tax exempt.
Tax
We can
exempt.
get you the forms and
So this
everything
would
when it comes
qualify
to
for
it.
that?
Because they would be the village's signs,
Yeah,
correct?
as we're purchasing them, there are signs, so when the time comes, we can coordinate getting you all of the documentation for that. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
guys.
Good luck.
You've done a lot of work.
Have a good
Yeah,
evening.
thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, other budget discussion.
Do you wanna take it or do you want me to take it?
Either way, do you want
I
me to lead it, or you good?
I can if you want.
Okay, go ahead. You
Sounds
drew
like a
up
new
the-
dance.
You drew up the memo on it, so you might
All
as
right.
well.
So in front of you, after John and I discussed kind of everything and what options we had about lowering the budget, came up with 3 options. So you have 3 potential budgets within this packet. I did the memo kind of pulling forward what each one is. So the first one, 5A, was removing the Church Street and Pearl Street sidewalk projects, along with removing the 2 flashing speed limit signs like we spoke about last meeting. That brings the increase to 18.91%, and it's a 10% change in the tax rate.
So those were the changes you
So
guys
those
asked
were the
for last
changes.
meeting.
Yep, so after John and I kind of went back and forth, there's a couple other options at lowering the tax rate, excuse me. 5B removes Church Street, Pearl Street sidewalk projects, along with the 2 flashing speed limit signs. But it also takes out the Class B operator laborer position for the 7 months that we budgeted in 2022. That brings it to a 15% tax increase and 8 cents change in the tax rate. 5C is all the above, again, removing Church Street, Pearl Street, the 2 flashing speed limit signs, the Class B operator, and it's also reducing the sidewalk appropriation from 25,000 to 10,000, and that gets us to a 12% increase, 12.16, and a 6.5 cent change in the tax rate. This, we did factor in, because of the removal of Pearl Street, as discussed, some extra funds under the sidewalk line for the crosswalk, to make sure that, and I spoke with Ken and Gary kind of at length with that, and emphasized what you said, Sandy, that if we go this avenue, we need to make sure it's well maintained, and they both said that wouldn't be an issue. So these are about the only options to lower the tax rate that we can see. It's not the most glamorous either way you look at it, but unfortunately, one thing I do want to say is we have to be careful too how much we're pushing into 2023, because we have some new loan payments that are coming due next year, and that I don't, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I don't think the conversation for the Class B operator is 100% off the table too, just because of the workload of the highway department. So they're just things to think about for the future too, of we can push some of this stuff off, but I think we also kind of need to sit down and look at the long-term plan, as I think John and Matt had discussed with you, well, a couple of you in previous years. But
How much of an impact does reducing from 25 to 10 have on what we do or don't do, or
well,
in 5C?
you're pretty much, if you keep it at 25, you're gonna be back up to the 15%.
Right, but- No, I'm thinking of when we take out that $15,000, what do we lose in the,
You may just,
bargain.
whenever you do another sidewalk project, you may be looking at having to finance more.
Okay.
A higher rate.
Or we won't have the money, the reserve, the savings and reserve to offset the project.
Right, so since you're not going to be doing another sidewalk project,
yeah,
that, the thought was you would just take that 10,000 and set it aside in an account
Yep.
to be used in a future year, and, you know, start trying to build up the sidewalk appropriation fund again.
The other thing I wanted to bring up before we make the final decision is the dump truck. So Ken got some final numbers for Freightliner through Charlie Boys. And the chassis is coming in at $101,000. The warranty is $11,655, and he actually called me at the end of the day. Viking got back to him for what they need for the body of the truck is gonna be about $80,000, silver rate, about that 195, 200 mark, and this is all before the trade-in.
So it was 101, you said, for the
Yeah,
for
the
the
chassis
chassis?
ended up being more than what we initially
By-
had, 'cause I think we had what?
99,775.
Yeah, so not too drastically more, and the body actually came in better than what we expected with Viking, it came in around 80.
Yeah, it's they're all budgeted 80 here.
Did he do 80 on there?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think he thought at one point it was gonna be higher. It had initially said 90 to 93, and then they called him back.
And then the
at
warranty
end of
was 12 to 15, so it was 11.
11,600.
the day. Yeah, 11,655, and that is the 7-year warranty like requested. They also told him, as of, if all goes well, this is the cover letter. If you guys decide you wanna move forward with this purchase, I do have the quote that would need to be signed off on, and here, a copy of this cover letter. They'll sign off on it, but it's for you to review. Basically, it is not holding us to anything if the budget gets voted down. So it's releasing us from the if you guys decide you wanna do it, it's releasing us from the liability of it in case the budget does not pass. Ken was saying that, according to them, it's looking like they can get their hands on a chassis August of this year. And if all goes well, Viking could be ready with a body in November, so there's a potential to have this truck November of this year.
So there's a potential that it hits the budget this year.
Not likely in regards to financing, and this is best case scenario right now, but that's another thing you'd be looking at for 2023. Depends on how,
Yeah, just as a reminder, the question on the plow truck isn't gonna affect the
This
tax
year.
rate this year. Even if it all worked out the way Abby
right,
said,
it'll be next
it
year's.
still wouldn't hit until 2023's budget. So those are kind of the two remaining issues in the general fund. Remember that you've passed the other three funds. So this is the last thing that you guys need to pass. And these are, kind of big ticket items still we're talking about here. I would say let's take one at a time. So you've got one set of questions in front of you of the options we've laid out here to bring the tax rate down, if you want to do that still. You need to make a decision about which one of these options is most favorable to you. And then there's also the question of the plow truck, which isn't gonna affect the tax rate, but if we're gonna get it ordered, we need to put it on the ballot for people to vote on for this year. So it wouldn't affect the tax rate, but the vote still has to happen.
That's right, never mind, ignore me.
I'm kinda leaning towards 5B
That's
myself.
exactly.
Yeah, we do think alike.
Is that what we were all thinking?
Yeah, I just wasn't too thrilled with C, and then A's not enough.
I like keeping the
Heather?
money in the sidewalk.
How does Heather feel? Can't hear
Can't
you.
hear you.
Are you on mute, Heather?
No, she's
No.
unmuted, so
No.
I don't know why we can't hear her.
Um,
Oh. no.
Does anyone know sign language?
no, that's on.
Oh, she can chat. I like B.
Perfect. Is there any way that you can draft a B including the additional $900 for the signs? That way we can
Yeah.
You
put
give-
our
So
stamp
the
on
If
old-
you give me like 5 to 10 minutes, I can go into my office and add the 900 with B and then bring it back in so you guys can see what the tax
We
rate
can
looks
sign
like.
off on it.
Yep.
I mean, you're
Carry on.
talking
It's not gonna
very,
be,
yeah, it'll be like,
Can we approve it without?
you're talking like 1/10% or something.
Can we, yeah, like
It'll
Sam
prob-
said,
you'll
can we approve
probably
it?
be-
Approve it with the additional $900 towards
you're
signage.
probably looking at, I would say, 15.5% max on that, give or take.
Yeah, how do we need to do this? Approve the exact tax amount?
That's gonna be a John question. 'Cause if you guys want, like I said, I can,
We can
Go
be
do it.
precise, or you guys can just say, if you wanna know exactly what it's gonna be, then we should give Abby a few minutes to just crank out the
Yeah,
numbers again.
That's the better way to do it, I
Do
think.
Yeah, and
add
that's
just the
fine.
900?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
yeah,
Give me a minute.
it's kinda not a either or.
Oh, she's doing
No,
Organization.
I think the public would like to know.
Yeah,
an
they,
exact-
and they're gonna, we're gonna get called on it anyway,
Maybe
so.
next year we can budget for some cheers.
I want the widow girl chair.
Remind them that it is still recording.
It is still recording.
Yeah. Thank you, Abby.
Do you want me to hesitate the recording?
Well, technically, we're still in the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
It's fine.
We're not done yet.
Thank you.
Oh, was that Heather?
You can hear me? You
Yeah.
can hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Twice.
yeah, it's delayed, but we heard it.
Oh, there's an echo too. She's gonna vote twice.
Yes, there you go. Oh, now we've got a problem.
Could I bring up something else while she's over there?
We can move into other business.
But it's not really, it's just a question. The Episcopal Church, they're having, water problems, hard water. They had,
We've all got it.
they had Chevalier come in and their water test is 19. And to not have a water softener, it's gonna be, it tests is 7. And they've gone through, I don't know how many water softeners, and again, and they're asking if the town can do something. Do we have hard water?
Oh my
We're all the
God,
same
yes.
water,
I can't
don't we?
I can't even let my animals drink the water out of the faucet. Sorry, I drink it because it's good water.
Do you have
But
a
it's-
water softener?
No, our water is very heavy in heavy minerals. And so my cats drink filtered water, and my dog always did too, and I won't bake with it either. You know, like baking bread and baking cakes, it makes a difference in how your
Right.
product comes out. But our water is very hard here.
Yeah, where I live too, I know I've got very hard.
I think it's
water.
all of the
Well,
village
it's
water.
village water,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have village water too.
gonna be
I don't
helpful.
have wastewater service where I live, but I do have water.
Yeah.
And where I live, it's very hard. It stains the sinks, it stains the tub.
There's a very high
gotta scrub it
calcium
all the
content
time.
for one thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manganese.
yeah,
And it's heavy in manganese, yeah.
That's why we have to flush the lines twice a year, is because of the manganese.
I put it in the water
Manganese won't
softener.
hurt you, it's not bad for your health.
Salt.
That's
But
weird,
if you
I
don't
have
flush the line, it
the
will
same water.
turn the
Sure,
water
it's
a
not plugged
little
up
bit
and
brown
Well,
in
they,
coloration, and nobody wants to drink brown water, and so because of that, we flush the line.
I drink the water all the time, it tastes fine.
I do too, it's actually high quality water, I mean, we test every
I don't really
month.
drink it. It's gross.
but is there something that, can we do something for the water not to be hard?
Talk to
Well,
God.
Gary is on. Gary, is there any
It's what
chance that
comes
you
out
can
of the
answer
ground.
this question?
He's muted.
Yeah, hold on, maybe.
He's coming around. You're still
You're
muted.
muted, Gary.
He's talking head.
You would probably need a very constant softening system to stop them. I mean, there is hard water.
We got hard water, we
More
got
manganese.
there's more manganese in this.
Did you hear me? Are we echoing?
Twice.
Yeah, lots of echoes.
We
Okay,
have more
We have more
manganese
manganese
than iron.
than iron.
But it is hard.
Enosburg water's very hard.
Yeah,
Yes.
test is 13.
Yeah.
According
Is there
to
anything that the village can do to make it all not hard, or is that up to
The world's largest
individual
water
households?
softener.
Right.
Probably individual houses. If you had to do it,
If you had to do it,
very
for us,
expensive,
it would be very expensive, it'd be a very big softening unit.
And you're probably talking a lot.
You're probably talking a lot.
I mean, I'm guessing that you'd have
I'm
to talk to
guessing
an
that you'd have to
engineer
talk to
on
an
that.
engineer on that.
We kill everybody with the salt.
Yeah, that's part of the
They'd have
treatment.
soft water, but they'd
That's
all
part
be
of the
dead.
treatment system, you have to add salt
Yeah.
to it.
That's what water softeners are.
That's sort of softener.
Yeah.
Well, the rectory at the Catholic Church, we got a water softener.
Oh, you do?
Well, then
And,
the
uh,
Episcopals gotta have one too.
We don't have one.
There is new technology.
There is new technology, it's more of an
They don't use
ion.
salt, it's
They
more of
don't
an
use
ion.
salt, it's more of an ion.
I know like Carrera
I know
House.
like Carrera House.
It's about 10,000.
It's about 10,000.
That's enough to drive anybody nuts.
Mm.
I'm about to mute him.
You gonna ask him to repeat that?
He already did.
Man, you're hot. You got some good zingers tonight.
Okay, so I guess to answer your question, I think it's on them.
Yeah, the water is what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, and
Village water is village
it's
water.
what it's what's in the
Sorry.
ground.
You can try water softener, or there's aeration systems that you can put into, I have.
They make an electronic water softener as well.
Water softener may not work depending on what is in there, because I know for my house in particular, water softener wouldn't work, we have to put in an aeration system.
I mean, at least we have water.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
You
that's
remember too,
You remember too,
you
you have a lot
remember
of
too, you have
a lot of
lines,
iron
a lot of
built
iron
that are 100 years old,
that are 100 years old,
that have calcified,
have calcified with
Iron
iron,
good at the
with
TV.
iron. Water is really dirty.
Shut him off.
Yeah. But, sorry, Gary, that's just
Sorry.
coming through really bad. We can barely understand you.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes.
I think you got the gist of it though, Leonard. Hopefully.
Several times.
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
The gist of it is, it's on them.
Yeah, well, they're claiming that, a water softener is about $1,300.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
And this is about the,
About $2,000.
I think I ended up about.
in
1800.
every like 5 years or so, they gotta buy a new one because it like eats it right up. And they were wondering if something, if the village.
I don't think there's anything that we can do to improve that on a system-wide basis, as Gary was saying. it would be up to individual, households or businesses to do
Okay.
something.
Have them check ionization
within
as
their
opposed to water
structures.
softener.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
ION.
IONINAZITION.
Brought up
Ionization.
one of those things. Life ionizers.
It's at the church. How much water do they
Well,
use?
everything's combined, the church, the hall, and the I call it the
Is this
rectory.
something-
the
Turn it to
apartment
holy water.
upstairs.
Right.
They're all together.
Okay.
That's a good one. All right.
Yeah.
So, are you okay
I'm
with
okay.
that answer? Okay, so Abby,
think I'm
you
okay.
had gone back and recalculated, option 5B, but adding $900 more in for the welcome signs?
So 15.18% increase.
What's the total tax rate?
What's the what, I'm sorry?
The total tax rate.
We're on B.
0.6249. And it's a 8-cent increase, 0.0824.
Okay, if draft number 5B with the addition of $900 looks good to everyone, bringing the tax rate to 0.6249 cents, I will hear a motion to accept the general fund as
Move.
is. Eli with the first,
I'll second that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And those opposed, nay. All right, that's unanimous.
Okay, so now the question of the plow truck.
Yeah, we just gotta sign the cover letter, right?
You have to sign off, not the cover letter, they will sign off on the cover letter and send it to you. They just wanted to have a draft for you guys to review of what they would send to you. I will hand this down.
What's that?
It's gonna be the quote, the cover letter, and then what the warranty covers. If everything looks good and you guys wanna move forward, I'm guessing you will have to sign off down here, and then they'll send us a signed copy of this and get it ordered. And if you don't mind handing out to Sam, please.
I think we're all still under the assumption that we're gonna.
Yeah, I think the
order-
big question, or the big answer that we already have is we need a plow truck.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Sam
like they
said,
didn't
yeah.
look for other things.
Yeah, it's, I think the question to be answered is, do you feel like you can delay the decision another year or no? But yeah, the village needs another plow
Yeah.
truck for public works. It's very likely it's gonna take some time. Abby's saying it's possible, maybe by the end of the year, there might be one here.
That's if everything
But that's
went.
not,
That's
right,
if.
that's if
And
everything
that's the
goes,
absolute best case
Yeah.
scenario.
And
right.
you can't
but-
do the job without the tools.
But it's still also possible, it might be 2 years
Yep.
before you get it, so,
So if we delay, it could be even worse.
Correct.
right, it would
And the
just,
price could be.
Even higher.
yeah.
And we're hoping 20 to 30,000 in the ballpark for the trade-in on what we have. Obviously, they won't commit to anything until it comes time to hand it in, but
That would be giving that thing away, I feel like.
Well,
Sorry.
probably aren't gonna have any
20 to
choice.
30 is what we're guesstimating on the trade-in on our current truck. They won't obviously commit or anything because until we physically bring the truck in one at a time, but
We also don't need to commit on any trade-in numbers, right? We can
no,
say yes or
that'll
no
all
to
come
an offer.
out that'll all come out in the final numbers. But just know you'd have to finance more.
Right. So it's better to budget for a lower trade-in.
Or, well, right now, if you approve the 195 that we talked about, that's not including the trade-in.
Right.
So
So
what you're
there's the-
financing
Up
will end
to
up,
Yeah.
195.
yeah,
With the hopes that it'll be better than that.
Right,
correct.
But that still came in at like 195 and change. And then
Yeah.
once you get tax title, well, no tax, but title,
Right. We're still gonna be in that
Reg.
ballpark.
Dealer prep.
insurance, maybe. if it
180 inch
adjusts.
big block Chevy.
Or is that
flat
wrapped
roof.
into a different?
That's a different policy, but I can't imagine it's gonna be too drastic of a change there.
That thing has like the same wheelbase as my pickup,
160.
right? A crew cab long bed thing. I'm glad it's got Cummins.
Right.
If you're happy, I'm happy.
You're good.
So what was the question on that?
We just,
We gotta know if we
can
gotta bring it to a vote this year.
Right, do you approve moving forward with the purchase, which means we would then put it on the Australian ballot for public vote?
I'm comfortable with it.
Yep,
Same.
do we need to?
got a nod from Heather.
So it'll be up to the public to make the final
Yes.
decision, they could vote it
This
down.
is just our
If
decision.
if the public
Yeah.
approves it,
Let's just
then
get
we'll
the
move
order
forward
in.
with it.
So we're not delayed anymore with that, and like I said, with the cover letter that they will sign off on and formalize that, but it releases us from any liability if the budget is voted down.
We made a motion to
No.
approve up to, we didn't?
No, there was no motion made at last meeting.
Okay. I will hear a motion to approve up to $195,000 for the purchase of a new plow truck for the Public Works Department.
So moved.
Second.
Either with the first, Sandy with the second, all those in favor say aye.
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 And those opposed, nay. All right, and now goes to public vote. So I am the customer?
Yep.
Cool, I've never bought something so expensive.
Maybe they'll let you drive it.
Maybe.
I don't know if it's
Hopefully not-
qualified
Hopefully
though.
not for a repair though.
Maybe
Yeah.
they'll let you wash and polish the old one before they trade it in.
I usually do drop the current one off after I fix it, make sure everything's all good.
Hey Heather, how's your husband?
Good.
Good. Awesome. Glad to hear it.
And thanks.
She's echoing.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
I quit with technology tonight, sorry, it's not working.
All right, I think that wraps up budget stuff for 2022.
Yep, that's where you needed to.
Is this where we say amen?
Thank God.
Yeah, I think that was it. We've got a budget now. So we've got a number of things tomorrow that we need to get revised in the warning on the ballot. I will get those things to our attorney, because our attorney still hasn't reviewed those things, because we haven't had an actual approved budget, but I have had discussions with our attorney. He understands the situation. He's promised that he will make the time to review everything tomorrow as soon as I get it to him. I'll do that first thing in the morning, and hopefully by the end of the day, he'll send everything back to me with whatever revisions, if he thinks that something needs to be changed in the
Hopefully there won't
language.
be any.
I'll get it down to the newspaper so that it can be printed in Friday's edition, and then we'll be set. There's another thing, a few other things that need to get done too. The clerk will need to also post the warning. You guys will need to sign that as soon as it's done. You guys actually need to sign the warning. We can get away with sending the one down to the newspaper, because they don't print the signature, you know,
Right.
in the newspaper anyway. They just print your name, but they don't print your signature. But for the warning that actually gets posted by the clerk, that does have to have your signatures on it. And that's gotta be, he's gotta have that by Friday. Andy Bolio needs
This
to have
Friday.
it by Friday,
So
right?
as long as we come in before Friday.
Yeah, along with the voter checklist, he's gotta post as well with that. And I think we're good. I think that's it. We've got a budget now, and congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Okay.
doing all the legwork. Okay,
I don't have to look at these figures in my sleep anymore. Going, wait a minute, I don't understand. Go back and read it again. Well, I'm thinking about people like you who really have to, yeah, it's like, this was the one thing that frightened me about taking this position. Was thinking about being involved in the budget and, you know, wondering if I was even going to be able to fathom it, but it was okay.
You did good, Sandy.
And if I hadn't been talking to the FBI today, I'd have made your cookies.
FBI. Geez, important.
I'll get them done yet.
Well, you made cookies, I think 2 meetings.
Yeah,
ago.
but I still haven't made the fancy ones I'm going.
Oh, I
So
didn't
when,
know.
when, our next meeting is the
Next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, that's what I thought, so we'll have them next Tuesday.
What are we gonna do the week after with no meeting? I feel like I'm gonna be so
Yeah.
confused.
I'm gonna chillax.
Yeah,
mean, you can come in anyway if you
Not
want.
good.
you know.
Right.
Bring in some cookies.
Yeah,
Yeah, have a cookie party. Public cookie party.
right.
So,
Alright, is there any other business tonight? If not, make it out of here in record time.
I make the motion that we end the meeting.
Alright,
second.
Leonard made the motion to adjourn, Eli with the second. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
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 and those opposed nay.